Most of these licks are easier than they sound, and they're all based on the minor pentatonic scale, which makes them great for playing live. So why does nobody play them? Well, I will explain why as I break down each lick so you can easily get them into your own solo and start to sound not only more awesome as a player, but also a lot more unique.
We are unique, gentlemen.
Let's take this first lick. I like to call this the trill lick. We're in D minor pentatonic. That's a 2-note per string scale, which you probably already know. And we just trill between the 2 notes of each string. Got a little trill here, little trill next 2 notes down, next 2 notes down, another trill, and another trill. The only thing to point out is that we're switching between the strings with a hammer from nowhere. We're getting 2 hammer-ons per string, like this. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think a lot of guitar players think about trill licks as sounding too simple to sort of have that sort of shred sound. But here's a trill lick in For the Love of God by Steve Vai. And if it's good enough for Steve Vai, it's good enough for me. And if you use trill licks, you're gonna stand out from other players because not a lot of other players are using them. That said, I think licks like this next one are way, way more powerful and way, way more unique. And this next lick uses a technique which I like to call interval sliding. This lick is partly inspired by Guthrie Govan's Waves. And it's also a little bit inspired by this little bit of the Under a Glass Moon solo from John Petrucci. So within the D minor pentatonic again, we have these notes. These are 2 notes within there, which makes the 5th interval. So we have this shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to play the high note and play the low note like this. And then I'm going to slide up to the next note in the minor pentatonic like this. I'm going to keep that same shape, play the high note and the low note again, and then slide down to where I started. So we have this thing, high, low, slide. High, low, slide. High, low, slide. The only difference is I'm just going up the first time, down the second time to get back to where I started. So it's gonna go high, low, slide, high, low, slide, high, low, slide. You see how that works? Now I'm using hybrid picking, which means I'm picking with my middle finger, like this. You can actually play this with a pick, that would look like this. It's just that if you use your finger, it means you can do this same kind of lick over string changes, which would be much more difficult to use a pick for. So going back to this lick, we have this. So I switch from a 5th interval to sort of more of a 6th. And then it sounds really good if you vibrato that 6th interval at the end. If you need to take some more time over these licks, grab the tabs and the backing track free following the link in the description. So let's put the shred aside for just a moment and take a look at this phrasing. So we have this lick. A lot of you will be familiar with the blues scale, and that uses that blue note at the start of an arpeggio, which goes up and comes back down the scale and does a nice little vibrato at the end. What I try to do is make these notes on the way down a bit more staccato, meaning that you don't let the notes ring, you just give them one little attack. And you can exaggerate this even more by using only downstrokes for those notes, like this. Another thing that's making this sounding a lot more expressive is that triplet rhythm. On the way down we have this da-da-da-da-da-da-da, this quarter note triplet rhythm, which gives it even more sort of spice. And finally we have this Stevie Ray Vaughan style lick here. And what really makes this one come to life is the quarter tone bend. You're bending from the same fret. The first one is one whole tone, and then you're bending up a quarter. You don't want to quite reach the half step. You don't want to reach this note. That would sound like this. It doesn't quite have the same effect. We want to kind of get halfway there. And really dig in with the right hand to get that slap. I want to have that string like slap against the fret. But actually, all said and done, this is still just minor pentatonic. So why are players not using licks like this? Well, because a lot of players are just too obsessed with working on the shred and never take the time to work on their phrasing. So don't make that mistake. Another mistake to avoid is wasting years ignoring efficient practice techniques. Click this video next to learn this awesome John Petrucci lick. Also, how to practice it efficiently to nail it in record time.
We are unique, gentlemen, in that we create ourselves through long years of rigorous training.